Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver are some of the most nostalgic Pokemon games for me. They're remakes of Gold and Silver, which are the first Pokemon games I ever played after learning how to read, and they came out at a time that really pulled me back into Pokemon. The coziness of the 2D sprites, the music, and of course the follow Pokemon add a lot of charm to this game. I haven't played through Heart Gold and Soul Silver in a long time, at least not for a fun casual playthrough. Over the summer, I managed to get this European copy of Soul Silver with this cool case and thought, what if I did a playthrough with only shiny Pokemon in this game? The odds of finding a shiny Pokemon in Generation 4 are only 1 in 8,192, making them twice as rare as shiny Pokemon in the newer games like Scarlet and Violet, where the odds in 1 in 4096. Then you can do other methods to lower those odds like using sandwiches, while in Soul Silver it's pretty much just full odds 8192 shiny hunts. There's still some pretty neat hunts to do in this game, however this will still take a lot of time since I'm playing it legit on actual hardware with no save states or speed up, something not many people on YouTube have done before, despite what they might claim. Starting off, I decided to go with Soul Silver version because I played Silver as a little kid, then Soul Silver when I got a little older, so it just made sense to me. My favorite Pokemon, Swalot, is also a Soul Silver exclusive, so let's see if I can get one in the Soul Silver Shiny Badge quest. Starting off the game, we of course have to get our starter Pokemon. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are great games to reset for a shiny starter Pokemon, since unlike in any other Pokemon game, you can see if that starter Pokemon is shiny before picking it. In Platinum, for example, you have to pick the starter you want, talk to Barry for like 30 seconds, then send out the starter Pokemon to see whatever you picked was shiny or not, and more often than not, it's not going to be shiny. I mean, duh, I don't know why I put that, that's how shiny hunting works. This is why I'm pretty close to approaching a year on just shiny hunting for a Turtwig in Platinum, but in Soul Silver, since each reset is faster, and because we see 3 Pokemon at once instead of just 1 like with Turtwig, it's much faster to go for a shiny in Heart Gold and Soul Silver as long as you don't want one specific Pokemon and you just care about getting one of the 3. Originally when I started this hunt, I was leaning towards Totodile being my target. I used Cyndaquil as a kid when I first played Silver, then Chikorita in Soul Silver, just leaving Totodile out. Because I was so deep in the Turtwig trenches though, I decided to just take whatever shiny Pokemon appeared first and then craft my team around that. There's a few shinies I know I want to try to get in this playthrough, namely Houndour, a Pokemon that always eludes the Johto region, then Jumpluff, one of my favorite Pokemon. These two Pokemon lean really well to starting with Totodile, however there's also the free red Gyarados we can get, which is technically a shiny, as well as many other cool water Pokemon I might want to get, like Wooper or Octillery. I'm going to try to stick to mostly Generation 2 Pokemon, as one big issue with Johto is it has a lot of Kanto Pokemon, causing a lot of final teams to be very similar to what you would use in Red or Blue or Fire Red and Leaf Green. I'll be happy with any shiny starter Pokemon in this game, to be honest, and I should probably explain what exactly a shiny badge quest or SBQ is for short if you're unfamiliar. The way it works is in order to get a gym badge, I must first get a shiny Pokemon. We have 16 gym badges to collect in Soul Silver, so this series will go on for a very long time, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out, and also follow me on Twitch to see some of these shiny hunts live. I unfortunately wasn't able to record any of the starter hunts since I started over Christmas break while I was away, not really expecting to make a video out of this. The way that I go about shiny hunting is I want to focus more on the love of the game, so to say, and not so much focus on making content of my shiny hunts, as with my main channel I often find myself getting burnt out or rushing some content, and with full on shiny Pokemon you can't rush it or force it because you're at the hands of RNG. I do plan on having some other shiny hunting videos on this channel between the Soul Silver badge quest though, so be on the lookout for that. Back to the hunt. I started this save file on December 19th, 2024, but didn't really start hunting seriously until Christmas Eve a few days later. I would get a few hundred encounters each day while hanging out with my family. Since the odds are 1 in 8192, and we get 3 chances at a shiny each soft reset, it means we should hit odds at around 2700 encounters or so. I was expecting this hunt to get to around 2000 or so because I've been pretty unlucky with Turtwig and thought I would probably get close to odds if not over odds, and I was also scared I would miss the shiny since the Pokemon don't sparkle in the window where you pick your starter, they're only shiny when you send them out, and my game would also randomly freeze at times, and sometimes I'd mash A too fast and just pick Chikorita without seeing if the other 2 starters were shiny or not. At least the follow sprites in this game are shiny too, so I can see right away if the Chikorita I picked by accident was shiny or not. Then, only at 898 encounters after I finished breakfast and was watching my niece, I got a shiny Chikorita. Kind of fitting how it's Chikorita since I accidentally picked it a bunch of times, and it's also a grass type starter Pokemon like Turtwig, which I'll get someday, I promise. I took a picture immediately and recorded a little bit so you could see it, but only taking 898 encounters was great and very under odds. It was only about a total of 5 hours of hunting or so, which might seem like a lot of time if you're new to shiny hunting, and if this was about a year ago or so, I would think this is insane too, but this is what one silly sparkly turtle guy could do to a man after a year. And yeah, it's just 5 hours of resetting the game, spinning the starter wheel, and repeating until it's shiny. My sister said that this is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, but to be fair, there is a small chance of something different in this case happening, in this case a shiny Pokemon appearing, although yes, from the outside looking in, this is totally insane to do a full odd shiny hunt when I can play Scarlet and Violet and get a shiny in less time that took me to write this paragraph because of the sandwiches. I didn't expect to get the shiny so soon, and I was scared my game would freeze again, so I didn't even bother nicknaming the Chikorita, so I saved the game immediately, then cleaned my cartridge a bit, and it hasn't froze since. We can do a little nature guess here. I guessed Brave at the time, and it looks like it's a lonely nature, just like me, and now we can start playing the game for real. Unfortunately for us though, Chikorita kinda sucks in the early game of Soul Silver, having to deal with all of these Pidgeys and Hoothoots, then the Bellsprouts in the Bellsprouts Tower, then Falkner's flying type Pokemon, followed by Bugsy's bug types in the first 2 gyms. It's a rough life for our little, plant-based friend thing. Seriously, what is Chikorita even supposed to be? I have no idea. Because of this though, we're going to need another Pokemon to battle Falkner, and because this is a shiny only run, it has to be a shiny Pokemon. One of the best options we can go after is Mareep on Route 32. In the original Gold and Silver games, this area is locked till after you get the first badge, but in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they added this small patch of grass to the north, which is perfect for us. The issue though is we only have a 20% chance of getting Mareep, and it's only in the morning and the day. There are some other cool shinies we can get here that I wouldn't mind too much though, like the version exclusive Ekans at 30%, Zubat at 5% in the morning or night, and Rattata, which has a range of odds throughout the day, but it can help us in the early game be used for HMs, especially if we want to stick to a very strict rule of using only shiny Pokemon. I also want to note here, at night on the same route, 35% for Wooper, that's kinda cool. I was also thinking for this Soul Silver Shiny Badge quest, it would be just on one single copy of the game with mostly full odd shiny hunts, while whenever I get Turtwig in Platinum, we can do multi-hunts in Platinum or method hunts in Platinum to make that stand out from one another, as I plan on having 2 different Shiny Badge Quest series running at the same time, and then possibly a compilation video of each at the end. Now again, I do want to stick to this series using as few non-shiny Pokemon as possible, even for utility or HMs or abilities like Flame Body to hatch eggs quicker, which isn't so bad, especially if we never use the utility Pokemon in important battles. There is also the Pokewalker, which we can use for items and such. Unfortunately, encounters from the Pokewalker are shiny locked though, but we can still use it to get items and just get money for our adventure, because we're going to need a lot of money to do all these shiny hunts, buying repels and all that other stuff. On the topic of eggs though, there is another guy in Violet City in the Pokemon Center that we can get a Mareep, Slugma, and Wooper egg from, all of which will be very welcome additions to my team. The issue with these though is that the shiny is determined when the egg is received, and we have to enter a very specific phrase to each of these eggs, which can only be figured out by this weird German website, and we don't have a Flame Body Pokemon to hatch these eggs faster. Slugma does have Flame Body ironically enough though, which would help for these hunts, and this might be a cool hunt to do later down the line, but it's a lot for someone with just one Pokemon to do. And by the way, if you have any nickname suggestions for our Chikorita, let me know in the comments down below so I can change its nickname when we reach the Name Raider in Goldenrod City. Aside from Route 32 and these egg encounters, another shiny I like to get is Hoothoot. I feel like Hoothoot gets forgotten as a regional bird a lot because Pidgey is just so much more common early on in Johto too, and Hoothoot is a night-only encounter. This works in our favor though, since at night, Hoothoot is an 85% on counter on Route 29. This means our chance of phasing or getting a shiny that isn't our target is pretty low. The other encounter here is Rattata with a 15% encounter rate, which isn't something I'd be upset to get, but it's something that I don't think will be on the final team, but if we get it, we can at least use it for Falkner and teach us some HMs. While the benefit of Mareep is to help against Falkner, Hoothoot can help a lot in the future too with the Sprout Tower, then with Bugsy and also being able to learn Fly, which is very useful. Because of this, I've been splitting my time between hunting Mareep in the day, then Hoothoot at night when I'm laying in bed watching One Piece trying to fall asleep, as Night in Heart Gold and Soul Silver starts at 8 PM in this game. I know I could probably just change the time of my DS system settings too, but I want to keep this run as legit of an experience as possible. Having a second Pokemon in general will also help us a ton against our rival, which I named Kyle after my buddy Quick Panic. Cyndaquil is one of his favorite Pokemon and our rival has Cyndaquil, so I thought it just fit. And I know he's a big fan of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and even recently did a Heart Gold and Soul Silver badge quest that he uploaded earlier in 2024. I learned a lot about Shiny Hunting from him when I stayed with him at the Toronto Regionals last year and this year, where we mainly just Shiny Hunted the whole time. I double hunted for Turtwig a lot this year on 2 consoles at once even. Again, I don't plan on doing double hunts for this Soul Silver SBQ, but like I said earlier, I plan on having the Soul Silver SBQ be almost entirely shiny Pokemon only on one single game, making it 100% legit as close as I possibly can. While the Platinum one, I'll introduce method hunts, multi-hunts, or other things to even change the system clock if I need to, for things like Drifloon soft resets in the Valley Windworks. Luckily, I have multiple DSs so I can reserve my new blue DSi XL just for Soul Silver, which is what I've been doing, and then my old Japanese charcoal DS for the Platinum resets. To wrap up our first episode of this Soul Silver Shiny Badge Quest, there's some other things I want to do and maybe mess around with in this game, like the Pokewalker for items, trade evolutions at events with the Shiny Hunters, and some other cool ideas I have for this SBQ to make it more fun. For now though, follow me on Twitch to see these Shiny Hunts live. Thank you for watching the video, hope you enjoyed, have a great rest of your day, I'll see y'all next time, and bye bye!